Welcome to the Bellingham-Whatcom County League of Women Voters interviews of candidates in the August primary for the Port of Bellingham Commission. The League is a nonpartisan organization. We never support or oppose a party or a candidate. My name is Cindy Madigan, and my guest is Ken Bell, who is running for the commission from District 2. We are asking all the candidates for this office the same 3 questions. Each candidate has 2 minutes to answer all questions, and the answers are timed. The video of candidate Bell's responses will remain on our website until after the primary election on August 5th, 2025. Candidate Bell, thank you very much for agreeing to do the interview and for seeking to serve in public office. Our first question is, given all the projects currently on the port's plate, which one offers the biggest return for the community?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. I'll kind of rank them as I see them in 1, 2, and 3. I'm committed this time around to making sure that we make the most of our airport industrial property. We've got some incredible property at the airport, the Bellingham International Airport, that has been underutilized for decades. It is a free trade zone. We have transportation corridors in and out. It is probably the best place for us to site an industrial properties. Boeing, just a side note, Boeing is planning to put in 44,000 new planes in the next 20 years. That means that there's going to be 120 subcontractors that have need a place to site their business. And I think the airport industrial park is good for a good portion of those. If we only get 10%, we've still made a huge mark. The most revenue is probably going to come from our shipping terminal because our shipping terminal has the ability to bring many more jobs, much more revenue into the port and be a much greater benefit to the community from a job standpoint. I think working wage jobs are a must in this community, and that's the place the Port of Bellingham can generate the most working wage jobs. So between those two, it's a toss-up for where we can create the most jobs, but that's really going to be the focus. The third is going to be on a little lower down is going to be the waterfront. I think that's going to take a little more time. We finally got out of some litigation on that waterfront district, and now we get to reimagine what that's going to be. I think it's going to take a broad community effort to come to consensus with community members, with stakeholders from the city, from the county, from neighborhood associations, from labor organizations, to make sure that we put the right type of development on that waterfront to make a statement. And I think we can make a statement because it is the best property on the West Coast for development.
Okay, thank you. So question 2, what are the economic challenges facing the port, and how should the port respond?
That's an easier question, actually. The challenge is our budget. We have a very limited budget these days. We've spent a tremendous amount of money on cleanups on the port. We still have 12 more cleanups to go in order for the waterfront to be back to where it should be. And the challenges, as they are with the state, always come with our budget. The response is simple. We need to prioritize. And it's time that the port took a look at focusing on fewer projects with more intensity so that we could spread that money to a location where it actually had an impact on the population rather than trying to spread our money thinly across all layers. I think that's a fool's errand. We tend to delay projects. They tend to take longer. They tend to cost more when you spread money across multiple projects over multiple periods of time. But if we can actually get our port to focus on what's important to us, what we identify as being the most impactful places to spend our money, that would be a huge benefit. The remediation projects are going to take time. We were hampered a little bit this year because the state swept $70 million worth of our cleanup funds into the general fund to help fund the general fund. And quite frankly, that's also what I consider to be a fool's errand, because they're limiting what we can do to clean up the waterfront to create work. The state would get that money back much quicker if they would let us clean up and clean up sooner, rather than sweeping cleanup funds into the general fund to be used for other purposes. If we could have that money now and have that money allocated towards cleanup of some of the shipping terminal projects, it would return dividends tenfold in the next few years. So a budget would be the first, and just need to prioritize.
Okay, thank you. And the third question, why do you think people are polarized in their political positions these days? And how would you contribute to a more cooperative working relationship with your fellow commission members?
Boy, wouldn't I love to have the answer to that. Um, I'll say it probably the best way just from observation, people get caught in a narrative. And I think this happens on all sides of a political spectrum. I think it happens just in life in general. And at times, facts don't seem to matter. And those are entrenched ideologies, they're entrenched feelings and entrenched um, narratives that are going on, and they're supported by the feedback they get. I think the 24-hour news cycle is one of the most dangerous things that ever happened to our culture, because there always has to be something more sensational, more divisive to be laid out there in front of the public. And what it has done is it's put people into separate camps. And I think this happens on both the right and the left. I think it also happens with interest groups. I think people are just now at a point where they can now focus their attention because of social media and other electronic devices. They can narrow in on a narrow interest and not see a broader picture. There was a day when we could sit down and disagree and still be civil. And I long for those days once again. I'm old enough to remember when they happened. But I do think that we've become so polarized because we've become so entrenched and so unwilling to give others grace. And at the bottom of this, I think, is grace. People can be wrong. People can have different views from you. People can think what they think, but they are still human beings at their core. And I will guarantee you that we have more in common with 90% of uh, we have 90% of what we think is in common with most people. Why we focus on the 10% is just madness.
Okay, thank you. Once again, thank you for giving the public this insight into your views and values. Viewers, please don't forget to vote by August 5th. Ballots sent by mail must be postmarked by that date. Ballots placed in drop boxes must be submitted by 8 p.m. that day. For more information, please see votewa.gov, votewa.gov. Thank you.